Hello and welcome to Amazing Women in Business, a podcast where we celebrate the courage and tenacity of women who are not just participating, but profoundly transforming the business landscape. I'm Demi Lin, your host, and navigating the complexities of personal and professional growth across cultures. Each episode, we dive into stories that resonate deeply, featuring trailblazing women who break through barriers and confront challenges with grace and strategy. Whether you are seeking inspiration to take the next career leap or looking for wisdom to balance personal and professional demands, you are in the right place. Together, we explore not just successes, but the resilience required to thrive in today's dynamic business world. Get ready to be inspired, feel connected, and empower your journey with every story we unfold. Hey, thank you so much for coming to my Amazing Women in Business podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Should we talk about how we met?
Yes, we shall.
I'll let you get there.
Okay.
But this is so funny. I was just looking at you thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe how we met.
Laura and I, we were in a tennis match.
Yes, long tennis
After
match.
work.
Yeah.
We rushed from our work. We didn't eat anything.
Yeah.
And that match ended into, is it over 2 hours match?
It was a 3-hour singles match.
3 hours single match.
You won.
By tiebreaker. You were distracted by a dog.
I think I was, and probably that I was very hungry. But you were very generous with your food, which is a great way to establish a friendship.
We ended up sharing the snack in the middle of the match.
Yes, you were very generous with food, which to me is just a sign of a great person.
I think we clicked. The way how we clicked, we both were playing nicely, right? And then we enjoyed the match.
Yeah, it was a nice match.
And we had fun, and then it was a very competitive match.
Yes.
So, but we didn't hold grudge on each other after the match.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I call a good person.
Yeah, and it is for fun, right? This whole tennis is supposed to be for fun, even though we get competitive sometimes at our age. One of the best things about playing tennis is meeting friends.
So that's why when I started this Amazing Women in Business, I said, wow, Laura can be my speaker.
Yeah.
The reason was when we talk, you mentioned you're in marketing, right? I thought, oh, you're doing a marketing agent. And then gradually I know, no, it's not. You are actually doing something bigger than this. Would you mind maybe give us a quick intro of your field, your industry?
I started about 8 years ago really focusing more on that freedom first business. And so I started consulting using a lot of my experience and background as a business person. And just, at first I think a lot of people who get into consulting are almost like freelance employees, which was very much me. Somebody says, I need this thing done.
And you're on project for your clients.
You're doing project
24.
work. Yes. And then I started developing my own IP, my own frameworks for delivering a consulting offer that made it more time leverage. And then people started asking me, Laura, you have an amazing business, you make a great income, you play tennis all the time. Can you tell me a little bit more about how you've created this business that you have? And I was like, well, probably. It wasn't my plan, but, always love helping other people see if they can find success. So I ended up teaching how to become a consultant, and now I have a whole community of thousands of students and lots of different people and different levels of programs that I offer, and I still am a consultant. So even though I teach it, I also practice it. I'm a practitioner, which I think helps me help my clients or my students even more.
A lot of time when I look into people who having his own business, and one thing I always, I'm always interested in is what does their life look like?
Yes. What does an entrepreneur's life look like? Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, it can look like a lot of different things. I think sometimes we see in movies or we see sensationalized sort of that bigger entrepreneurial path, right? The big exit, the big company build, the trials and tribulations of creating something massive, creating your empire, which I was on that trajectory for the first 15 years of being an entrepreneur. And then I realized actually what I could do is I could make more money in the short term, could generate more cash and cash flow in my business by actually pacing the growth and making it more of a high margin service. not, constantly scaling, which eats up your cash. I could put my cash somewhere else, like into investing or different things, and actually enjoy my life as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So it definitely I got very, very burnt out towards the end of my first sort of career path as an entrepreneur, and then just chose differently in my second, I would say the 2.0 version of me. And today I have a ton of time freedom. We have a lot of financial flexibility, and I get to be a mom, which is my biggest priority.
And you have 3 kids.
3 kids.
And you still play tennis.
And I still play a lot of tennis, which I don't know if any of you have noticed, but this is actually my worst child right here. She is my worst behaved child. My human children are actually very cooperative. This one is a little on the high maintenance side. So she requires a lot of energy. But besides that, I play a lot of tennis, hang out with my kids, and live a pretty flexible lifestyle.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So other than the fun part of that, what are the key challenges you're facing every day?
Yeah, I would say the hardest. I don't want to jinx myself going into 2025, but the hardest parts of entrepreneurship are probably behind me. I've had really, really difficult moments, and I would say, so I'll answer your question 2 ways. What were my hardest moments? My hardest moments were running out of cash, having a big staff, worried about how I was going to fund the next payroll, being on the hook for good debt, SBA loans, which people say are good debt, but I've started to come to realize that, in my opinion, no debt is good debt, and just the stress and the weight of that. I never ever want to experience that again as an entrepreneur, and it was very hard. Today, a lot of my key challenges are really just keeping up with marketing. Marketing changes so fast in the field that I'm in. And because I actually do the marketing as well as I consult on it, it's not just theoretical. I am, what I often say to my clients, like, I eat my own dog food. I am, running new ads, testing new messaging, constantly testing new creative, and then going back out into my student and client population and telling them what I'm finding. And it changes very rapidly. So I would say that's the biggest challenge, like ads that people responded to pre-election, they want nothing to do with now that we're close to the holidays. But relatively speaking, in comparison to other stressors that I've experienced as an entrepreneur, it's not super challenging.
Yeah. For me, I feel it's very inspiring. Yeah. Because the way how you work, you started as agent, right? Started with some doing the work. And then you figure out there's another way by teaching them.
Yes.
And that's actually very impactful. Like not just serving to 1 or 2 clients, you're having thousands of students and you're helping them to be a better consultant.
Yes. As an entrepreneur, I think anytime you're doing you're choosing which direction you want to go in. Yeah. It has to be values aligned. You have to feel a passion around it, or else it's really not worth the risk and the expense of being an entrepreneur. I say this to my students all the time. Like, don't just do something to do it. Don't do something because it's a good business opportunity. Because at the end of the day, everything that you're putting in as an entrepreneur has to have an outcome that's greater than what you're investing. You have to have that vision, that end goal that feels bigger, that feels more exciting than your hardest day building it, or else it'll never feel worth it. And so for me, I think it is very rewarding. I have women, mostly women coming from corporate, agency, and coaching. Those are really the 3 areas that people tend to come to me from. And when I see them get their first client or their aha moment, or they feel like they found their thing, I hear that a lot. Like, people will say, oh, I was trying to become a course creator. I was trying to do this. I was trying to do that. I was, I was testing out real estate, and then they find consulting and they're like, this is awesome. It's super rewarding. But I'll also say, and I appreciate you saying that it's very inspiring, but I'll also say, when you've come from a really hard and dark place, it does give you, while you would never wish it on anybody, I think it gives you perspective, because you know what it feels like to bottom out. And first of all, you're not going to allow yourself to go back there. Yeah. And second of all, you survived it. And so it also builds confidence.
And then that's part of way how you are having your own expertise and you're teaching them.
Yes.
But I'm just curious,
first of all, I need to mention about your book.
Yeah.
So this morning when I come out of my office, I said, hey, I have Laura's book. Aww. And I want to bring here. I couldn't stop finishing over the weekend. And I love the way that you explain, the win-win, building the relationship into a very simple, easy way. And maybe can you help us elaborate a little bit about what you talk about in this book?
Yeah. It's really funny. When I came into the online space, which is a whole sort of ecosystem in itself, there's course creators, people who post on social media, there's content creators, right? And that's very, very popular right now. It can also feel very exhausting to people who are trying to build their businesses. And so I had, people saying to me, and I just was building my consulting business through relationship marketing, what I had done for 15 years as a brick and mortar business owner, because when I started my brick and mortar business, I don't even know that Zuckerberg was at Harvard yet. So, I was, the only way to grow your business was through relationship marketing at that time. And I continued on with that practice to continue to grow a multi-million-dollar brick and mortar. And I was thinking, doesn't everybody know this? Like, doesn't everybody know that you don't actually have to post to social media. You don't have to drive yourself crazy nonstop becoming a content creator. You can just develop key relationships in a very specific way and nurture them well. And you can just rely on those to grow your business. And I realized not a lot of people knew that, or maybe they kind of have heard it before, but not in a structured way that's actionable. And so I wrote the book that I thought a lot of people could benefit from.
And the way how you explain this into 3 ways, right? You talk about how you built up your credibility and how you built up your visibility.
Yes.
And then you build a community.
Yes.
I feel this is a very practical way. What would be the biggest takeaway in this book that you want your readers to take?
Yeah, I mean, what we really want to think about is how are we going to build something sustainable as an entrepreneur? Yeah. In this day and age, it is not expensive or difficult to throw something up online and make a quick buck. But as quickly as you do that, you're going to be starting over 3 months later because you don't have the substance or the credibility built behind you to actually create something long-term and sustainable. And I see it all the time. There was this wave of popular online products like around this time last year called master resell rights, where you would buy somebody else's course and resell it. It was basically multi-level marketing, but a digital course version. Well, of course, that's going to become commoditized as quickly as you launch it, right? I mean, that is the definition of a commodity, industry. So really thinking, okay, not just like, how can I make a quick cash next week, which I feel like is so popular right now in the online space. How can we create something long-term? So 12 months from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, I'm developing a core set of skills that I can lean on, rely on, that no one else can take away from me, and that it can predictably generate income for my business. That is the biggest thing.
But you need to have the long-term thinking mindset.
Yes, which is the basis for relationship marketing. It's not, I'm going to post this social media post tomorrow and hope that it makes it rain. It's really thinking about, how do I lean into my strengths and partner and collaborate with other people around their strengths to grow my visibility and my credibility so that I can eventually have a community of buyers.
Yes, I like it. And also when I was reading this, one thing that resonates with me very well is you also talk about when you build up the relationship, you take time, and then you also mention about giver, taker, and match.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something I like. Maybe you can help a little bit.
Yeah, and that's an Adam Grant philosophy. So I certainly can't take credit, but I use it. I've applied it in my own way and shared how in the book. But I think you are going to run into these different types of decision makers in various circles. And if you're just giving all the time, I think many of us women are givers. We have high maintenance dogs that we need to give to all the time. We give to our children. We give to our family. I know, particularly in your culture, women take care of everybody, right? Like, you take care of the parents, you take care of the kids. Everybody's your responsibility within a certain age range. That's a lot, right? And you become trained to be this giver, which is a good thing. But when you give to the point of your own sort of boundary crossing, that's when it stops being reciprocal.
Yes.
And then on the flip side, if you're a taker, which, you know, I was generalizing with nice women like us, amazing women like us, we tend to be givers. We run into those takers every now and then too. And those people are just, sometimes if you're a giver and you give a little too much, the takers love that. They'll be attracted to you and they'll be like, great, I'll borrow your audience. Great, can you email your list? Great, can I get this thing from you all the time? And you have to really be aware that that's the kind of person you're dealing with. And it's no judgment, but it's also really important to set boundaries. What you really want is to develop relationships with matchers, people with whom you can have that reciprocal exchange with, reciprocal relationship with, that often have complementary offers to you, and you can benefit from referring and connecting with one another.
That's my immediate takeaway.
Yes.
I think, wow, let me think about, you know, in my today's work, and how can I be a better part doing this matcher?
Yes.
Because you are giving, you are taking, and then you are actually matching people, you're helping people to grow together.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And then you have another very interesting point in your book about abundancy.
Yes.
Can you help a little bit about that part?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to abundance mindset, this is very difficult. It's very difficult in a way that I think people, it may be a subconscious thinking or programming versus something that's on the surface. But when you bring it to the surface, then it becomes, there's a lot of awareness around how it may be holding people back. So I'll explain what I mean by this. When you go into a sales conversation, for example, and let's say you've just invested in a program, you've bought my course, and you're like, I have to make this sale. It's very easy to show up with dollar signs in your eyes. It's very easy to put pressure on yourself and think, oh my gosh, if I don't close this person, I won't be able to pay my bills. I'll be a failure as a new consultant. We have all these stories, and I tend to coach my students through these stories. But if we say, hey, this is a great opportunity. I can see if I can help this person, and if I can't, I'm not going to pitch them. If I can help them, I'm just going to ask really good questions to make it obvious to both of us that it would be a good idea to work together. And then if they don't want to for any reason, or it's not a good time or not a good fit, no worries. There's many more people where they came from. And I will tell you, the truth is whatever you see. If you believe that there are not a lot of clients, the economy is not doing well, you know, other people aren't doing well, you hear from another consultant that they're not doing well, and so consulting must not be doing well. You know, for example, you are only going to see scarcity. If you believe, you know what, there's a lot of businesses that need our help right now. And gosh, when I do the research, 5.5 million new businesses open every single year. And out of those 5.5, I'll probably be able to find 3 or 4 a month that probably need my help. And at that point, I could probably build a 6-figure business within 12 months. All right, let's do this. Let's see who we can find. When you think that way, that's what becomes reality. And so that's why that abundance mindset is so important, but sometimes hard to practice if we're feeling scared or insecure.
I agree. I think it's a very good mindset. But just a lot of time it's easier said than done. And I just feel it takes courage. To really apply that mindset into reality. But then the return will be long-term and sustainable.
I love that you said courage. Because people always want me to help them become more confident. And I always say, you can't fake confidence. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to fake it till you make it. What I am going to tell you is the courage comes before the confidence. You build confidence in the arena. You build confidence by working with clients, putting yourself out there, creating the thing. That's how you build confidence by doing your reps. But it takes courage to get in the arena. To get off of the bleacher seat and get in the game. That takes courage.
Yes. Is it a way to train the courage?
I think to just know that. Like you're never going to feel ready. You're never going to feel like you know enough, that you have enough, that you need to wait until the negative thoughts go away. They're not going to go away. So I think it's more of an acceptance, because I think a lot of, especially smart women who are probably watching this podcast, wait until they feel ready. You're not going to feel ready.
While I was reading this, I have a lot of aha moment. Oh, yeah, I can apply this. I can apply that. And this is something I need to keep reminding myself.
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you for bringing this such a good book to everyone.
Thank you. Yeah.
For any women in business, if we want to build our own presence, our own brand, what would be your recommendation?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be to do some values work, do a values exercise, really know what you stand for and who you are, but then also be open to how that interacts with the world around you. So if we even look at what I've learned, what I've experienced, it's very much a collaborative effort with my own students, my own clients. And I think, all of us, since I specialize in the field of consulting, I think all of us remember the Office Space movie with Jennifer Aniston, where the consultants come in and they're like firing everybody and asking really horrible questions and making people feel really bad about themselves, right? And I think to a certain degree, that's what I teach the opposite of, and I've done the opposite of. And I think that's one of the reasons why my students find a lot of success is because consultants just ask really good questions in a way that's not arrogant, not know-it-all, curious. I always teach my students, like, stay in a curious mindset, stay in curious energy, because clients, curiosity means you care, and clients really sense that and appreciate it. So I think in terms of just, really approaching it differently, that's something that I've really tried to do.
Wow. Yeah. I can apply this too.
Yeah.
To further build my brand.
Yeah.
And, as a mom of 4, actually, right? Including Joy.
Yeah.
And having your own business, juggling with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And getting into this quite a successful time. So what will be the key behavior or routine or habits that bring you to where you are today?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that. I think that a lot of entrepreneurs, especially coming from corporate, which I know is your experience, there hasn't been as much need or maybe even emphasis, because I haven't worked in corporate in a long time, so I don't know for sure, on nervous system regulation. But I would say that it's critical as an entrepreneur, because everything feels more intense when you're an entrepreneur. This is your dream. This is your business. This is your reputation. It's like playing singles. You're out there on the singles court. Yeah. And everything that you do it feels like, especially in the beginning, that it could make or break you, and with no turning back. There isn't a budget with flexibility. There isn't an IT department. There isn't an HR department. You're making all those decisions. There's not a CFO. You're the CFO. So for all of those reasons, I think people experience an unexpected amount of anxiety and nervousness. And so what I don't want anyone to feel like is like, I'm broken or bad if I'm experiencing that. It's normal, but as entrepreneurs, we have to have habits to regulate our have I do meditation. I do cold plunges. I have a sauna blanket. I have a meditation app that has a headpiece that measures my frontal cortex activity that I use once a day. I think a lot of people will probably be surprised the degree to which I spend a lot of time managing my nervous system. You probably saw it when you came in. I have a rebounder, which is a trampoline, which is great for the kids, but it's also very good for us.
I thought it's for your 4-year-old.
It is good for that, but it's actually really good for us and our health as women is to rebound. And I focus very much on my health and wellness. I don't really drink. I don't, for all, and people might wonder, oh, you're trying to lose weight. It's like, no, actually all of this contributes to our mental health. And as entrepreneurs, we are running a different race. And I think it's really important for people to know that and understand that, when you embrace the entrepreneurial lifestyle, you're embracing a path less traveled. And so it's important to know that you may have to do things or work a little harder on things that maybe other people around you might not understand unless they're experiencing it too.
But I think it also take discipline to regulate that.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't, you'll quickly fall apart.
Yeah, you get very nervous, very anxious. You're betting on yourself every single day. It's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think that's why it's so important to have those practices.
If you think about like being over 20 years here,
Yeah.
if you want to say something to yourself over
Yes.
20 years ago, what
Yes.
would be that?
You know, I think it would be that you think, you know, at any stage in our lives, I don't think this is exclusive to entrepreneurs. I think this is the case with people in corporate too, I would think, is that you think your career path is going to go straight and up to the right, like the finance people say.
Yeah.
Right? But our career path, everything builds, especially as entrepreneurs. Everything
down.
builds. And it's up and down, but all the zigzagging builds on itself.
Yes.
And if I could just trust that instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go in this direction. Oh shoot. Okay, I'm going to go over here. Oh shoot. Instead of saying, okay, I'm just going to keep building on my skill set and what is my next best step based on where I am in that building process, I probably would have had a much more relaxed approach to entrepreneurship
Yes.
in the first 10 years or so.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I just wanted to say thank you again for sharing with all the audience this wonderful insight.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for your grace with my dog. Hopefully all of you are dog people too. I think there's a lot of them out there, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for joining us on Amazing Women in Business. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a 5-star review. Don't forget to share these episodes with another amazing woman in business who will benefit from our community and content. Together, we can empower more women to achieve their full potential. Until next time, keep thriving and breaking barriers.